Hello, hello. I grabbed a bunch of random decks. So we're just gonna see what's going on. Also, side note, this is like a silverware drawer organizer, but you can put decks in there. I got it from the dollar store. You know, if you're like me and use a million decks at once. Fun fact. Four of Swords reversed. It's time to move. Four of Cups reversed. We've been stagnant. You've been in like a waiting room, like a waiting period. The Fool. Six of Swords. Leaps of faith, new beginnings. Moving into calmer waters. Ace of Swords. Victory. Knight of Wands. A decision was made about an opportunity one way or the other. There's a lot of like, man, okay. Four of Swords, Four of Cups. We have Knight of Wands. Two of Swords, Six of Swords, a Fool, Ace of Swords, a Star. King of Pentacles, King of Swords. Two of Wands. So Two of Swords, Two of Wands. So there's a lot of like 222 might be a thing. Because these are all the same. Anyway. I feel like you were in a cosmic timeout. And you were faced with a decision. Keep going or give it up. Move forward or be done. Really just kind of wondering if it's worth it to continue. Whatever. Masculine energy. Oh, look at that. Feminine energy. Balancing energies. Perhaps this was about a relationship, whether or not we were going to continue with it. Duality. Honoring your energy. Okay. Struggle and integration. So, you lost yourself in, I'm gonna say, a relationship. Maybe this had to do with abandonment issues or something like that. We're gonna say relationship because I grabbed this here, rose quartz and romance angels. So things were really stagnant and you couldn't go anywhere. Like you were stuck where you were until you had a lot of time to think and make a decision. And maybe you haven't completely made this decision yet, or you thought you were gonna end up leaving this person's situation, whatever. But then like you're realizing that maybe this really is your person. And you needed some time apart. You needed to separate for a little while. Because sometimes we have to, true love, forgiving and learning, and finances and career. We need to, it's easy to lose yourself in a relationship. It's super easy to, especially whenever it's your first like real relationship or first like healthy relationship or whatever you want to call it. And whenever you lose yourself, you have this habit of looking for new, like, I'm done with this person. I want to move on. They're not what I want. This is not the way that I want it. whatever, but I feel like you really had an opportunity to look at the part that you played in this. And I'm not saying that either one of you are at fault. I'm not saying anything like that. And use your discernment. If you're in a bad situation, then like skeet skeet, right? Do it safely. Do what you need to do. Use your discernment. Everybody's going to be different. But a lot of times whenever we're unhappy in a situation, it's our issue. And that's not to say that people can't be doing things that are not okay, because that's absolutely true. But a lot of times if we have something that, like, say someone is not, like, you want somebody to be more affectionate, okay? But here you are over here not willing to give them the time of day or being near them or giving them an opportunity to be affectionate. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's both have to work at it, and maybe you were deceiving yourself that this wasn't what you thought it was, or that it had cooled off or whatever, just because you had things that you needed to learn. And you kind of had to have, like, heart-to-heart conversations with yourself. And by releasing your ex, I feel like this is, like, your previous energy. Like, the version of you that just expected things to come from this person, but you, weren't willing to accept what they were giving or what you wanted them to give. You weren't willing to accept that they were doing everything they could in the way that they could. Because, like, if somebody comes and saves you and rescues you and whatever, and you have this new love, this new person, like, what if you don't like the way they chew? What if you don't like the way they text? What if you don't like the way they do a whole bunch of stuff? Are you, like, if the problem is you're going to find problems with everybody. Pay attention. Yeah. Break the lineage. Fierce feminine. Divine protection. We were hyper independent. And listen, you can be your whole ass person. You can do your thing. You don't need another person to complete you. Ever. Never, ever, ever do you need another person to complete you. That is your job. It is no one's responsibility to make you happy. It is no one's responsibility to make you feel any sort of way. It is no one's responsibility to do anything. It is yours. You take care of you. That is your job. You're not going to be happy with anybody if you're not happy with yourself. Okay? But if you've been in situations before that were toxic, unhealthy, abusive, whatever, there are going to be layers to that. And even especially whenever you get into, like, a healthy relationship, the urge to self-sabotage is so damn strong. And even if we're fighting it and we think we're doing a good job, sometimes it creeps in, especially over time. And I feel like you are given almost a gift of, like, time, where you were not under an obligation to stay or to leave. You were given time and space to sit where you were with yourself the way that you needed to in order to face the things that you were perceiving to be issues outside of yourself. Because you can still make any decision you want. You can go and look for somebody new. You can stay and try and see where the both of you have had a role to play in this. There's no right way either way, but I feel like you're being given an opportunity to recognize that it wasn't just them, okay? You had some things, and maybe this person maybe they're not as vocal as you are, or maybe you had been voicing what you wanted different out of them, but they weren't saying anything they wanted different out of you. And maybe that was just them giving you space. Maybe that was just them not trying to add more to whatever it is you're already struggling with, if they already saw that you were struggling. They were trying to not make your load even heavier. But either way, this gave you an opportunity to be more aware of not only the role that you played in this situation, but should you decide to go into a different relationship, these are things you're going to have to work on anyway. These are things that are going to come up, whether you're with this person or another person, or even if you're not with any person, even if you're by yourself. Okay? You are always going to be a work in progress, and you do not have to wait until you're a finished product to deserve love. Community. So you've been feeling really alone in this, and maybe you haven't talked to anybody about it. Obstacles and joy. Maybe you feel like you've been climbing Mount Everest all by yourself. Because when you're with somebody, you don't, and you're not sure what you want to do or how you want to move forward, you don't talk to a lot of people about it. Because you don't want to open others up to be putting their 2 cents in whenever you don't even know where your 2 cents are. And that was the right move. I mean, it was probably lonely, yeah, but this was all about you seeing yourself, what you need, what you want, and what you have been, and what you have given. What have you been giving? What have you been trying to take? And are you expecting something out of this person that you can give yourself, or that you should be giving yourself? Anyway, either way, like this takes patience, okay? And learning boundaries, especially whenever you have not had them before, it's hard. All right? Give yourself grace, give yourself patience. And I feel like you're not completely out of this yet. You haven't completely made this decision yet or whatever. But I really feel like you're recognizing that you have more say in this than you thought you did, and you've been receiving or have been in a position where you could have received more had you allowed it. And I'm not saying just think about the glass being half full, but like, don't only think about it being half empty either, because if you're going to nitpick and you're going to find a problem with this person, you're going to find a problem with every person. Just make sure that you're protecting yourself and doing everything you need to do. You have to feel safe. I mean, that's the thing. But also, if you learn and grow, then this person could be learning and growing too, even if you don't see it. And I'm not telling you to stay. I'm not telling you to go. I mean, best of luck to you either way. But this is really calling for you to see the part that you played and what you have done and what you should be doing differently. Healing family issues and letting go of control, making the effort. Exactly. If you haven't had if you haven't had other healthy relationships in your life, you haven't seen them, you haven't had the opportunity to observe them, then you're not going to know what you're doing, and it's okay to learn. But it brings up a lot of issues that like don't even seem like they belong in a relationship. Like if you have abandonment issues from a parent, that's going to show up in your relationship, even if it doesn't seem to make sense, but there's still that abandonment issue. So you're afraid this person might leave you. Right? Because deep down, that's fear. Or if you have been neglected and this person is going through something and is not giving you every bit of attention that you want, that's going to stir up that neglect wound. Okay? And yeah, you need affection in relationships. That's important. You need all of that. But at the same time, is it that you really need more, or is it that you need to recognize the reason why you feel like you need more? There's so much more healing that needs to be done in relationships as they go. But regardless, you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. You don't need anybody. You don't need this person. You don't need a different person Free yourself from what you think you need. Like, quit worrying about whether to go or to stay or to do or to don't or to whatever. Like, just be for a while. Just observe. Just look. Just watch. And be open. Like, what is this person offering you? What is this person trying to do for you? And don't immediately think about how it's not enough. Think about how it's this, how it's that. Just watch. Just observe for a while. Maybe write it down if you feel like you need to. If you're really confused, which is fine, because confusion is definitely a thing. And then you can go back and think about the observations that you've made versus the perceptions that you had. The observations that you made versus what you were only willing to see. Like, you were seeing part of the picture instead of the whole thing. And like I said, that doesn't mean you need to stay. That doesn't mean you need to go. That's going to depend entirely up to you. But your lesson right now in this moment, in this situation, in this timeout has been to see the parts that you play in this and fix those parts, because you need to be fixing those regardless of what you decide, okay? You're going to be fine. It's a never-ending process. Life, love, all of it, okay? Slow down. I know you've been feeling like the emotional equivalent of paint drying for all of this, and you've been in confusion, and you've been stressed out, and you didn't know, like, you couldn't go anywhere even if you wanted to. Like, I get it, I promise. But work on what you can work on and see what you need to see. The entire picture, whether you like it or not. If it's not a pretty picture, then you need to see that it's not a pretty picture, okay? I love you.